IPSQA is the International Public Safety Qualifications Authority. We develop global standards and provide independent role certification for emergency service practitioners around the world. We are not a training provider. We work with industry experts who become assessors for our certification scheme offered through our international network of accredited testing centers. In Part 1, an overview, we will introduce IPSQA, and how it can benefit your agency or academy. Welcome to IPSQA, and let's make certification simple. In this presentation, we will provide an overview of IPSQA, our operating model, explain our currently available products and provide a sample of the standards available to test against. The International Public Safety Qualifications Authority, Limited, is a social enterprise based in New Zealand. We develop standards, provide independent role certification for emergency service practitioners, and accredit public safety degrees around the world. Responding the needs of the global public safety industry, our vision is for a capable public safety workforce through globally portable and recognized certification and qualifications. Our mission is to provide internationally recognized certification and qualifications for the public safety industry. To clarify, qualifications are usually earned through education such as from a university or college, whereas certification allows for endpoint testing which may or may not require an education. At IPSQA, we are guided by 5 key values. Integrated, we work to ensure our range of products are consistent in value and nature across our stakeholder industries. No one subject area is more important or influential than another. Inclusive, we act to provide an inclusive environment for any persons, countries and organizations to participate in our schemes where they are committed our values, with the exception of complying with any international trading restrictions legally imposed on us. Integrity, we work to do the right thing to uphold the integrity of our reputation, products and services. We take responsibility for our actions. Sustainable, we adopt an operating model that is sustainable and respects the value of people's expertise and qualifications, through using professional staff, contractors, commissioners and assessors who are accountable to deliver results. Equality, we ensure our supporters are treated equally and given the same opportunities and voice to influence our enterprise. We act with humility regardless of the status we hold in our profession. As a social enterprise, 51% of profit is distributed to improve public safety through our scholarship commission. The balance is distributed to staff under an employee stock ownership plan or ESOP to ensure we continue to have committed, professional and invested people to give effect to our mission and remain sustainable. ESOPs are common with many other iconic and socially responsible public safety companies such as CMC and NRS operating such schemes. The difference with IPSQA is that most of our profits are redirected back into scholarships to support the development of our assessors, administrators and the wider public safety community. After working internationally in a range of roles with organizations, such as New Zealand Fire Service, Rescue 3, Emergency Management Academy of New Zealand, Country Fire Authority, International Technical Rescue Association and many others, IPSQA founder, Dr. Steve Glassy found traditional training and certification systems were failing industry, losing credibility and becoming an expensive bureaucracy. For example, Australasian national competency frameworks focused more on non-compliance rather than the competence and experience of the learner, or required time-consuming vocational qualifications in adult education that often added little value to the learner experience. Constant upgrades to trainer and assessor qualifications caused attrition of emergency service volunteers, leading to unsustainable costs and a reduction in operational capability. Touted as nationally recognized, often they weren't, with students having to redo courses because one state would not recognize the training of another. Often students would go into a course for a few days, and come out fully qualified with no experience of the actual task they were qualified to do. This often stems from a lack of trust of agencies signing off their own people, as opposed to using a ISO system that requires independent assessment. In some countries which are more hierarchical in culture, assessors were put in difficult situations where they were compelled to pass candidates being assessed. Assessors could single-handedly sign off a candidate with no more evidence other than a tick in a box. This created a disposition where assessors were easily coerced or bribed, rendering certifications meaningless. Most vocational systems do not integrate the requirement for skills maintenance or recertification, meaning separate systems need to be developed, causing additional costs and administration. With the constant changes in standard versions, each provider had to invest significant time and resources into updating the assessment tools, rather than using a common assessment tool across industry. The myth that NFPA certifies training continues. Though NFPA set standards for the fire industry in the USA, they do not accredit or certify organizations or individuals respectively. Often bodies that purport to provide NFPA certification, but none certify candidates against ISO 17024, the only international standard for certification of personnel that requires independent assessment and robust quality assurance requirements. And even popular training systems offered by international companies whose profits only benefited shareholders, seldom subject their activities to any quality assurance such as moderation, random sampling and auditing. As you can see, there is plenty of challenges with the status quo. That is why IPSQA is providing a revolution in public safety role certification to make certification not only credible, but also simple. Governance of IPSQA is managed under a partnership-based model, where the CEO works in collaboration with two sitting commissions. The Certification Commission that oversees the certifications schemes in particular to meet the oversight requirements under ISO 17024, and a Scholarship Commission which administers the distribution of grants to assessors and the wider sector for advancing the industry. The commissions are comprised of commissioners who are active stakeholders of IPSQA, and are from around the world to support our vision. IPSQA is not a training provider. This allows agencies and academies to train their students however they want, using internal or off-the-shelf training resources. What IPSQA does provide is summative assessment regardless of the student's learning journey, to ensure they are ready for the role in the real world. This assessment, also known as testing, is administered through a global network of accredited testing centers or ATCs. ATCs are powered by trained IPSQA administrators who oversee the administration of our testing products. These administrators can draw upon assessors from their own or a global pool, to perform assessment of candidates. Assessors are expert practitioners who are suitably qualified, experienced and also trained in the IPSQA assessment methodology. From staff, contractors, assessors and administrators, all are bound by the IPSQA Code of Conduct to ensure the integrity and quality of our products and services. ATCs are at the heart of the IPSQA certification schemes, through being the point of contact with clients and students. They arrange the testing and do so through having specially trained IPSQA administrators on staff. These administrators use IPSQA assessors either internal or external to their organization to carry out the testing. As ATCs can draw upon a global cadre of assessors, all with different expertise, these centers can offer the full range of IPSQA products across all subject areas if they have access to suitable resources and facilities. This makes the IPSQA model attractive to many commercial providers as it significantly diversifies their business activities and creates a wider range of revenue streams. The core requirements for accreditation are the same, but there are different licensing tiers including commercial, government and not-for-profit. A commercial category ATC can offer testing within and outside their country. A government category ATC can only offer testing to government agencies within their own country. And a not-for-profit category ATC is limited only to charities who test volunteers within their own country. Government and not-for-profit ATCs wishing to test outside their own country must upgrade to the commercial ATC category. Assessors are recognized experts in their field and in the area specific to the IPSQA standard they are assessing against. They do not necessarily have to hold the IPSQA certification they are assessing, but will need to demonstrate at least equivalence. For example, assessors for the IPSQA certificate in public safety instructor could hold a graduate certificate in tertiary and adult education. Assessors generally need to hold a technical credential at a higher level than the one they are approved to assess against. Assessors have to complete an IPSQA assessor course, and then, depending on their prior qualifications and experience, must undertake a number of supervised or reviewed assessments before they are registered. To maintain registration, they must complete a number of assessments per year and pay an annual registration fee. For assessors testing candidates against the certificate in public safety or our micro-credentials, they can assess Part A, which is proctoring the online examination, and assess Part B, which is the practical skills assessment. Senior assessors can assess Part C, which is the final part of these two credentials, which often requires candidates to submit a portfolio of evidence including verified experience for the role or task. The benefit of being an IPSQA assessor is not only recognition that they are considered an industry expert, but they have the option to be involved at international level, becoming guest or contract assessors for ATCs around the globe and gaining valuable professional networks and being able to mutually share ideas and new practices, which aids in homogenization of methods and improves interoperability. Assessors can also apply for contestable scholarships such as doing advanced professional development courses or study visits, as well as create contract opportunities to assist with moderation and other IPSQA quality assurance activities. What past experience has shown us is that assessors generally are great at the technical side, but not the administrative side of assessments. With this in mind, IPSQA operates its assessments through accredited testing centers who must have at least 2 IPSQA-trained administrators. This also provides additional checks and balances, as the assessor generally is not responsible for the data entry into the database, and means that assessors' valuable time is focused on carrying out the assessment, not with administration. In most situations, the administrator can print out all the documents for the assessment, and even act as a proctor Part A or theory examinations. IPSQA administrators cannot be associated with multiple ATCs and take responsibility to ensure all the assessment documentation and evidence is submitted and stored appropriately. Assessors can simply turn up, be provided with the assessment paperwork, conduct the assessment and hand the completed forms and assessment evidence back to the center's administrator. Currently, IPSQA has 3 key testing products. Our flagship IPSQA certificate in public safety, abbreviated to the postnominal Cert Pubs, has a range of specializations for key public safety roles. Our IPSQA Mirco credentials that are like a mini Cert Pubs for a range of specialist tasks or equipment operation within public safety. And finally, our IPSQA Core Pass, which is a light touch assessment aimed at the general public such as first aid and fire extinguisher testing. All our products, where undertaken, are consolidated on a lifetime transcript that has a unique QR code for each candidate. Now, let's take a look at our flagship certification scheme, the IPSQA Certificate in Public Safety.
The International Public Safety Qualifications Authority provides independent certification for a range of public safety roles, from technical rescue, firefighting, emergency driving, and everything in between. Our flagship certification program is the IPSQA Certificate in Public Safety, which has numerous role endorsements and is assessed in accordance with ISO Standard 17024, which ensures independent certification of personnel.
IPSQA is not a training provider,
which means agencies can take back control, determining and managing their own training. How you get trainees ready for assessment is up to you.
What makes IPSQA's certificate in public safety unique is that it requires 3 parts to be awarded:
an online theory examination, a practical skills assessment, and a submission of a portfolio of evidence to meet professional requirements such as real-life experience.
So, regardless of the candidate's training journey, IPSQA provides one certification that is robust and cost-effective to implement. Visit www.ipsqa.com and let us help you make certification simple.
Our three main testing products include our flagship certificate in public safety, as well as our micro-credential. Both of these are certified to ISO 17024, making it the world's only multidisciplinary public safety role certification that requires knowledge, skills and experience. Our two ISO 17024 certification products require independent assessment, meaning that the candidate's instructor cannot also be their assessor. A second assessor assesses the final part, which is usually a portfolio of evidence. The second assessor is usually from another country to address local political or cultural interference. The ISO products also are subject to a high level of quality assurance, such as requiring snapshots of candidate performance during their skills assessment, as well as internal auditing of such assessments to ensure the integrity of the certification scheme. Core Pass, however, provides a light touch form of assessment, but it is not certified to ISO 17024. This allows basic level skills to be assessed by the instructor, where they are also appointed to do so by the ATC. Core Pass gives more autonomy to ATCs in that they are primarily responsible for development of the assessment tools such as exams, providing their assessment complies with the respective IPSQA standard. All of our testing products, where achieved by candidates, are recorded on a consolidated digital transcript which can be easily verified by QR code. IPSQA continues to develop a wide range of new standards for our testing products. The 3 and 4000 series relates to our certificate in public safety. The 5000 series relates to micro-credentials, and the 7000 series relates to Core Pass. We are constantly working with stakeholders to develop new standards across these product lines. Contact us if you have the need for new standards. Thank you for taking the time to learn more about the International Public Safety Qualifications Authority. Reach out to us today to see how we can make certification simple.